Here at Unfinished Business Television, we are proud affiliate partners of the site Super 7, the home of all your needs for classic 80s and 70s action figures and apparel. Be sure to support our show by using the link super7.com/AJEpics when you check out for any product in their store. We hope you can support us in our endeavors.
Imagine a game that knows your fears, fulfills your fantasies, and owns your mind. Now, imagine the game is real.
Play it, Michael.
Brainscan, the ultimate head trip. Rated R. At theaters April 22nd.
Hey, folks, it's us, Unfinished Business Television. I am your host, Jeff Gallishaw, Unfinished B2 on social media. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Andre Joseph of AJ Epics Productions.
The power of Frank Langella accepting a paycheck.
That should give you a hint because, yes, once again, it's time for and I chose a movie by the name of Brainscan that stars Edward Furlong, Frank Langella, and the well-known T. Ryder Smith as the trickster, with Amy Hargreaves as Kimberly and Jamie Gallen as Kyle. This sci-fi, I use that term loosely, it was actually written by Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote the screenplay for Seven. This was obviously a very early draft or first screenplay sold. Well, let me tell you the story. The plot of this movie is Michael is this young kid who, I don't know if he's disabled or just has a limp because of a car crash that killed his mother. But basically, he's a lonely, horror-addicted kid who mainly lives alone. His father is always traveling. I'm guessing that's how the bills are paid. And he basically has a crush on his neighbor who likes to pose in her bedroom naked, open windowed, as he takes pictures. I'm like, okay. And basically, he plays video games, watches horror film with his best friend Kyle. And in Fangoria magazine, they hear about this interactive horror video game named Brainscan that's supposed to be like the ultimate experience. And of course, he orders it and he plays it, and it's the point of view of a killer. And he is successful in the game, and then discovers that was a real murder. And then this Freddy Krueger of the 90s, the trickster, comes out of the game, who's kind of a mascot for the game, and egging him on, who also does the voice of the phone, or the business owner of Brainscan. And to show you how old this is, he has a digital operating system on his computer named Igor, who talks, "Yes, master," that T. Ryder Smith always also gets credited with. And after these murders, he chooses to keep playing this game because there are different parts, and there's supposedly witness or evidence. And each time he ends up killing somebody. And Frank Langella is hot on his tails on volume, because this is how understated Frank Langella's performance is, because he has no emotions. But basically, look, when I was a kid, a teenager, this movie came out in theaters, and I wanted to see it because, I liked Eddie Furlong. I thought he had a future as an actor because I liked T2. I even liked Pet Sematary too. which was actually one of the first horror movies I saw in theaters. So Brainscan was just like, oh, another drop in the bucket. He's into horror. So I tried to go see it. They they recalled this movie after being in theaters 2 weeks because it got such bad reviews and it made no money. So that in my neighborhood, when the local bootlegger got one of those early, copies of it before it hits video stores, I jumped at the chance to watch it. And back at the day in the day, I thought it was, cute enough. I thought, okay, it's not really good, but it's entertaining. And this weird, the trickster, I don't know what they're trying to do, trying to make another horror character icon who's just a wisecracker, but has a weird mohawk and looks like a melted troll. Um, and of course, you had the eye candy of Amy Hargreaves. And when I saw it on Tubi, I got so excited to watch it again. And then unfortunately, I watched it and it has the small wonder effect where even though it wasn't passable when I first saw it, I found it a guilty pleasure then. Watching it now, it's just this movie is fucking horrible in so many ways. Um, but I digress, and I apologize, Andre, for making you watch this movie over my original choice. But what is your history with the movie of Brainscan, starring Edward Furlong?
I don't really have much of a history because I never heard of this movie until you brought it up. I mean,
Really?
it might have been one of those movies that had been in Blockbuster and probably passed it, or I might have even seen an ad for it, but I really don't remember it at all. I remember, of course, you know, Terminator 2. Everybody knew that. Pet Terminator 2, that one he did with Jeff Bridges, and then even that
Oh,
one
yeah.
with the one where he was with Kathy Bates, the
Oh,
family
A
that
Home
was.
of Our Own.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff. I don't remember this movie, period. But from what I see, I'm not surprised how bad it is because it is really so weird. And like, this was at the probably at the forefront of all the virtual reality type projects,
Mm-hmm.
and Ghost in the Machine, which we reviewed. It was kind of like those similarities there with like something evil coming out of a computer and committing all sorts of horrible acts, but also here having the sort of the possession of this boy who's, I guess they're trying to throw back to Rear Window, him being this quadriplegic voyeur to this young girl. It's like, Jesus Christ, all the nudity in here. That's pretty nuts. Um, and then I recognize the principal at the school. He was like one of the bad guys in Short Circuit too. And yeah, I was like almost happy when he got killed off, or at least we thought he was killed off. But yeah, you could tell Edward Furlong just when he doesn't have James Cameron, he's not very good in here. And obviously, I think that could be attributed to his personal issues at that time, terrible with drugs and alcohol, because he just doesn't deliver in the emotional moments that the film needs. And then Frank Langella playing the cop investigating him. Clearly, he was collecting a check. This was just another gig where, much like with Masters of the Universe, he just tried to find something fun about it. And it's set in New Jersey, even though they shot in Toronto, but yet it's in some fictional town that nobody's ever heard about. It's supposed to be named after Montclair. So that was kind of strange that they would set this of all places. Coming from the guy that shot Lockup in a famous prison in New Jersey. So, yeah, boy, this is horrible. Down to the effects and everything. But I mean,
Oh,
Fangoria certainly loved it for the makeup. So yeah, that's brain scan for me.
yeah, because I didn't understand why at least the practical effects look at least somewhat believable, but then they'd have this hideous bad CGI, like when they try to meld. It was just like, what the fuck is this? And um, okay, I wrote down a lot of points here. I said the trickster was the new wave Freddy Krueger. It's like it's not shocking the guy who played it didn't really have that many big roles after this movie because it felt like he was setting himself up thinking, yeah, this is gonna be my ticket, and it was like, no, it wasn't at all. um, I don't know the budget of this movie, but why is it so few locations in this film?
He's stuck at home. He got nowhere to go. It's like Disturbia.
It was like, but it looked like the murder when he does murder people. It's like this could have been shot in the same house almost. Why don't the neighbors like him if they know he's like practically abandoned? You think they'd be a little friendlier. And why are they at home fucking in 4 o'clock in the afternoon? That would have been more interesting if they were fucking when he tried to come in. Like, is Kimberly home? Like, you're interrupting my afternoon sessions.
Listen, people who work a lot, they have afternoon delight every now once in a while.
And I thought it would have been more interesting if they had made Edward Furlong's character a quadriplegic because he's living through his legs in the game. I like that I'm trying to save the script of this movie.
And half the time, when he's running into woods away from all the neighborhood people with their guns, which also was like hilarious because it's like, oh, if we catch you with any guns, you're going to jail. And then they still got pistols anyway. But the kid runs like he's not a quadriplegic. Like he's just normally, like he's running from the T-1000.
He forgot.
He forgot what movie he was in.
Exactly, because it's like he's like, nah, I'm supposed to have a lip now. What? And it's like your knees messed up, not the bottom part of your leg. And we see Frank Langella's partner get shot, and you get that minor shock, but there's like no emotions there either in this whole film from Frank. It's like Frank was obviously like smoking something before he got upset. Like, oh God, I can't believe they're making me say this.
Also, is Edward Furlong living by himself? Because who's paying the mortgage of that house?
His father, who talks to him on the phone, who since the mother died, I guess he was like basically has abandoned him.
Where's the father in China?
He's a door-to-door salesman when they still had them. And why does he drink milk with his dinner? Like, what American TV drinks milk with their microwavable dinner? And I take it.
He watched Cobra. He watched Cobra and saw Stallone cutting the pizza with the garden scissors. Like, let me top that shit. I'm gonna have some dinner with some whole milk.
And why, for somebody who's apparently computer savvy and smart, why is every action or decision he makes so dumb? It's like, what are we just saying? Like, he's a teenager. What did you expect? I said this was a bad representation of cyberpunk, a future tech, and because everything's on CD in this movie.
The CD-ROM days.
Which I never played any of the video games on CD-ROM, so maybe that's a little bit why I was lost in this movie. Like, you couldn't just have a disc, a regular disc to play with, or a cartridge. Like, I didn't get that. Why the fuck does Kimberly like him? Because he's not charming. He doesn't appear to be that smart, and he's kind of standoffish anytime he sees her.
And he's peeking out the window watching her get naked.
But she knows this too. And she still does it.
Was this the Crush? But with sci-fi elements?
It would still be a better movie than this if that's the case. John Flynn did not like working with Edward Furlong.
I'm not surprised.
You can tell. And even he felt like he couldn't act. I was like, but that's the weird thing because Edward Furlong has been good in other movies. So I think it's the thing, like you say, if you have a strong director behind him, he brings the goods. But if not, he's going to just half-ass.
Is it
You
true
know,
he was physically assaulted by the director?
oh, I don't know anything about that. I wouldn't be shocked. But again, I don't know that much about John Flynn. If he's like an ex-marine or something, or if he's
Allegedly physically assaulted.
yes, because I'm like, is John Flynn known to be a violent man? Is he a Michael Winner? It's like,
Well, he
I
worked with
will,
Seagal. He worked with Steven Seagal Out for Justice, so you never know.
and yet he called Edward Furlong a bad actor. Yeah, like you worked with the worst of the worst,
Yeah.
and you
And you watched him get his ass kicked and shit himself.
and he
Allegedly.
was and he was still like Edward Furlong's much worse. He's temperamental. um, let's see what else did I write down because this is all stuff because obviously paying attention to the movie isn't paying off, so I had to write these questions down. That's what I would ask. I felt like the principal perfectly if Adam West was
Yeah.
around acting it. I was like, lost opportunity. Might have made this film a little bit more noteworthy. Frank Langella, Adam West, Edward Furlong, and
They
Brainscan.
probably couldn't
Uh,
afford Adam West.
uh, was it too expensive to have them smoke weed? Because it's obvious Michael and Kyle would be totally stoned.
Yeah. That brings me to the ending too, which really pissed me off because we go for all this shit. He gets possessed, and then he wakes up like, oh, it was just a dream. And then he goes to the party and the girl likes him, and oh, she might date him. And then he has the shit with the principal, and then you see this creature, and instead of freaking out, you're just like happy and that like the fuck?
I, I, I was wondering, are we now in the game and this is all a
Yeah.
simulation? You know,
It's a simulation. What the hell?
it's like maybe this was his warm up for Seven with the twist endings. He's like,
Oh
it's all a
no.
simulation. It's a twist, you know.
Within the box.
Yeah. And T. Ryder Smith is still waiting. When's Brainscan 2, baby?
I'm surprised
Like,
they didn't put him in Terrifier 3 for a cameo.
he does look similar. I'd be like, I'd get my lawyers involved if I was you, T. Ryder Smith and Andrew Kevin Walker. What did I? Okay, Frank Langella, director hated Edward Furlong. There's no character development in this film at all.
None.
Like even Frank, maybe that's why Frank Langella's like, "Yep, how much am I getting paid? Because what am I supposed to do with this? You know, my
You
partner
live.
gets
You're
killed."
a detective in New Jersey. You can't put on a Jersey accent.
Not Canadian Frank Langella. Hell no. He's like Ryan Reynolds. I always represent the CA.
I mean, Disco Dracula. Come on.
And was this at the time when he was dating Whoopi Goldberg too?
Oh no, that was a few years later.
Oh, okay. So he was getting high on this. It was like, you know what's next? That sexy woman, Whoopi Goldberg. Let's go make Eddie.
He probably was high every day when he was dating Whoopi Goldberg.
But maybe not because he made him laugh. So that was the element that he appreciated about it. I was like, okay, I know this movie's supposed to be exploitive. Does Kimberly ever own a whole outfit other than school? Because all she's in are these like little skinny halter tops whenever for Michael to peer into at her from his window. And,
Maybe she shops at the Gap.
well, at the time, it was 1994, so that would have been the most popular thing. And I like they keep plugging Aerosmith Get a Grip since he was in Living on the Edge, the music video. So everybody, for some odd reason, has an Aerosmith poster somewhere in their room. And considering there's so few locations, that means Michael's room, her room, and Kyle's room. You know, okay, don't worry, we're almost over. This movie is, yeah, like I said, I apologize. this is probably more entertaining than the movie is, pointing out its problem.
It's a movie that needs a riff tracks commentary.
And pretty much, if even the riff tracks people can make it that far in the film. Um, no, actually, we might be near the end because you brought up the ending, which was like next point. And I just wonder, how can a movie get worse over the years than it initially was when I saw it? Because I am like, I wish, like, I like Edward Furlong as an, oddly enough, as an actor. And, I give him credit for coming through all his hardships finally now. But I gotta say, this next to the movies he was making, obviously for money when he was on drugs, like Crow Wicked Prayer, this is one of, or at least this is his worst studio movie ever. Or one of the worst things I've seen him in.
It's sad because I mean, when T2 came out, and I loved the movie. I mean, I loved it so much. I wanted all the action figures, and there was the John Connor figure that you couldn't find anywhere because it was so rare. Him and the bike, but Super 7 actually did make some Terminator figures back a few years back that are all of the characters from Terminator 1 and 2. They're not on sale now. They're probably in the archive section, but they have a bodega campaign going on right now for all sorts of rock star figures and horror toys from like Return of the Living Dead. They even have a Sesame Street toy line right now. So if you go onto the link Super7/AJ Epics and you want to support the show, you can go right now and buy those figures.
Well, since they're Sesame Street, they should have like the blue Big Bird as a rarity one-off.
Ooh, that would be fun. A glow in the dark Big Bird.
Oh yes, I'd buy it. Faster than I'd buy a DVD version of this movie.
I still have my little place set upstairs, just without the figures.
Was there a Brainscan playset by any chance?
I'm sure if we petition for it, they would make it.
I say they should make a Frank Langella doll just with operable bottle of pills or a weed accessory to explain his performance in this movie.
Well, they have his Skeletor figure, which was made years ago. Of course, I've never been able to find it.
They should make an Edward Furlong Pecker doll from that movie.
I thought you meant an actual like his Pecker.
No, but they could make one from this movie for every guy who takes pictures of the girl across in the other balcony. Shit. I think that's the perfect amalgam for this movie. This seems like a movie that was made by a teenager in the 90s.
Edward Furlong, come on the show.
Yes, we've talked so glowingly about.
We'll talk about Pecker.
Hey, it's a John Waters film. I love Pecker, the movie. But yeah, I was just like, this was a disservice. This movie is hard. I can't recommend anything about this film for anybody to watch unless you are a Edward Furlong completist, because this movie, usually even the bad films, there's something we can talk about positive on Deep Dive. I don't have anything positive to say about this movie.
Well, he did say at a convention that once it got a cult following, he attributed that to the pandemic helping to show that the movie has these isolation themes that made it more relevant now than back when they made it in 94.
Well, yeah, I guess the whole thing of isolation was like, that shows the character why he's so duped into this. Or we could call it low budget. But we'll call it isolation.
It was his version of I Saw the TV Glow.
A very bad version. And the horror club watches these horrible horror films like they're good. It's like whatever that movie they were watching, when the principal busts them, that looked like a piece of shit.
Well, it's probably the guys from summer school picking the movies.
Even the summer school guys had better choices. This looks like a movie they would make. Actually, I was like, I'm just like, I think it's because the first time I saw it, I kind of liked it. And now watching it and realizing how bad it is, I took it personally like, I chose this piece of shit. I had another movie lined up for deep dive that would have been way better than this. And I chose this one. Damn you, Tubi September premiere. That's the only reason I picked it, because I was like, wait, it's on Tubi? Let me watch it. Let me recommend this to the people. And then it was like, no, nobody should watch this. David Zaslav needed to take this movie, buy it back, so no one ever saw this movie never saw. I'm like, you couldn't even put this movie on Nickelodeon or Nick at Night and get people to watch it. So obviously, this is one of the rare, nobody should ever see this film ever again. But Edward Furlong, we'd love to talk to you. And Frank Langella, too. I have some questions.
But we don't really want to talk about your pecker, though. We just want to talk about the movie pecker.
Or American Heart, or T2, or A Home of Their Own, or Animal Factory, where your pecker was almost in somebody's ass. You were considered a pretty boy in that movie. I'm just saying. Or American X, where we almost saw Edward Norton's pecker.
Oh, Jesus. We're going to hell.
Well, I mean, he was having sex with Fairuza Balk in the same room with his brother in it. So, yeah, scripts have weird decisions. So, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Unfinished Business Television. And I promise, hopefully next time in the deep dive, we will have a better choice than this movie. And I apologize to all of those out there who probably, because it has a cult following, some of you out there really do like this film. And I would love for you to tell me why.
Enjoy your trick-or-treating.
Exactly. How does this have a higher rating than I Still Know? That's what I want to know. And at least that movie had a budget and character, and oddly enough, character development. This has none. Well, maybe you guys just don't want character development. You were like, I want to see Edward Furlong forget he fucking tripled and murder people in a movie. And that's, damn it, what you got. While watching a girl who looks like a real teenager be nude in this film, which was also very weird and unsettling. But she's had a long career. Amy Hargreaves, we'd love to talk to you about your career. T. Ryder Smith, why not? If you're around, we're available. So that ends this episode that hopefully we don't get sued for or blacklisted for. And until next time, we'll be down here hiding from lawyers in the deep dive. And we'll see you next time.
Happy pumpkin picking.
If you like this review, please be sure to like and hit subscribe to be alerted to new episodes in the future.